prioritizing others over you. It's a cool Thursday night and you've just been told you're getting a promotion. You're more excited than a puppy with a new chew toy to share the news with your husband as you race home, probably breaking a few land speed records. But after you break your good news, he casually tells you that he has a golf game with his friends that day and can't cancel. Apparently your career growth and milestones rank slightly below watching grass grow on his list of priorities. At first it might seem like you're just being empathetic or supportive, but when things start happening regularly, it's not about being thoughtful anymore, it's about you being taken for granted. Sadly, when you're consistently pushed to the sidelines, it can take a serious emotional toll. You might start to feel undervalued, lonely, or even question your worth in the relationship. And let's be honest, you shouldn't have to compete for the love and respect of someone who claims to care about you. The worst is when they leave and ignore you to go play this new action-packed game called War Thunder with their friends. However, you can't really blame anybody playing War Thunder because this game is literally a game changer. It's a top free-to-play large-scale multiplayer action game that checks all the right boxes. War Thunder also brings even the little things to life, like guided missiles, smoke screens, and night vision. Oh, you can deploy reconnaissance and strike drones, and if that doesn't blow your mind, there's even the option for a nuclear strike that wipes out the entire map. Prepare to geek out. War Thunder's detail on every vehicle down to the bolts and gears is jaw-dropping. And just when you think it couldn't get better, there's the Dance of Dragons update that offers more firepower, new French combat boots for all you fashion-forward soldiers out there, the beastly American A-10 Thunderbolt II attack aircraft, and the F-111 tactical bomber, and 2 top-tier Chinese fighter jets. The best part is that you can jump into the action on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Mac. So what are you waiting for? Go and download War Thunder for free by using the link in the description. All new players and those who haven't played War Thunder for half a year or more will receive some special bonuses. Rentals for the P-40E-1 aircraft and M4 tank for a week, along with free unique skins for them, and even more gifts. Hurry up! The American vehicle bonus season will end soon. Gaslighting. So you've been on high alert for a while now, convinced that your boyfriend might be auditioning for the role of sneaky cheater. You've noticed the weird behavior, too many working late texts, the phone always face down like it's got state secrets on it, and more excuses than a kid who didn't do their homework. Naturally, you put on your invisible FBI jacket, and after a bit of harmless snooping, you find exactly what you feared: flirty and downright bizarre texts with a coworker. Now, when you confront him, phone in hand, ready to drop those receipts like it's Black Friday, he basically flips the whole thing around and accuses you of being insecure, dramatic, and overreacting. Now, you're left standing there, wondering if you just turned into that person who makes mountains out of molehills, or if you're actually onto something. Well, you've basically been gaslit, and no, it's not a new dating trend. Simply put, gaslighting is when someone plants seeds of doubt in your head. They're basically trying to convince you that everything you think you know is as real as a unicorn playing the piano. Narcissism. So, you've had the most horrible day at work. Your boss has been nothing but a pain in the ass, your car broke down on your way home, and to top it off, you've only eaten 1 apple since morning, so the worms are turning your belly into a rave party. Now you get home hoping for a little comfort and sympathy from your partner, but before you can even finish telling him about your day, he suddenly starts talking about himself instead. Instead of, "I'm sorry you had a rough day," you get, "Oh, that reminds me of the time I was absolutely killing it at work and everyone applauded my genius." Suddenly the conversation has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And now you're stuck wondering how you went from venting to being a reluctant audience member at the Me, Myself, and I show. This scenario is a classic example of narcissism in relationships, where one person is so wrapped up in themselves they forget, or rather ignore, the existence of the other person's needs. In simpler terms, narcissism is basically extreme self-absorption. It's not just about someone being vain or confident. It's about someone needing constant admiration and attention, often at the expense of others. A narcissist believes they are the most important person in the room. Actually, the only person person who matters. In a relationship, this manifests as your partner treating you like you're just an extra in the movie of their life. You're there to applaud their victories, support their every need, and make them feel special. But your own feelings and needs often get pushed to the background. Your entire existence is validated only by how much attention you give them. The tricky thing about narcissists is that they always come off as charming, confident, funny, and probably know exactly how to sweep you off your feet. But as soon as that initial charm quickly wears off, you're left with someone who expects you to be their audience, therapist, and #1 fan. Jealousy and possessiveness. These two are like the dynamic duo of relationship red flags. They're kind of like salt and pepper because in small doses, they're normal and can add some spice to life. But when you dump too much of them in, things go from sweet to seriously spicy real quick. First of all, jealousy, aka the green-eyed monster, is that little nagging feeling that creeps up when your partner sees you paying attention to someone else. It would literally become a problem when your partner's questioning everything you do. Who you're texting, where you're going, why you took 10 minutes longer than usual to reply to a message. It's like living under surveillance, but instead of the FBI, it's your partner turning every social interaction into an investigation. Now, if jealousy is the appetizer, possessiveness is the main course. It's when your partner starts acting like they own you, like you're their favorite collectible, and no one else is allowed to even look at you without their permission. Possessiveness can show up in sneaky ways. Maybe they start getting upset when you spend time with your friends, or they insist on knowing your every move, not because they care about your safety, but because they want to control it. You go from feeling like their partner to feeling like their personal property, which is a surefire way to make you feel like you're in a relationship with a possessive bodyguard. Possessive and jealous partners would isolate you from friends and family, slowly convincing you that only they have your best interests at heart. By the time you realize what's happening, you may find yourself disconnected from your social support system and fully dependent on your partner for emotional fulfillment. Commitment issues. You have been together with someone for over 2 years now, and as far as you're concerned, everything is perfect with your relationship. Well, except for the fact that every single time you bring up the future, your partner suddenly develops the conversational skills of a particularly evasive politician. Well, after spending over 3 hours on Google asking all sorts of questions, you come to the realization that your partner has serious commitment issues. Basically, your relationship status is perpetually stuck on, it's complicated. Suppose you're in a relationship with someone with commitment issues. In that case, you'll always be left feeling inadequate or unwanted because while you're busy thinking of your future and planning everything, they would be treating the relationship like it's a month-to-month lease with an escape clause. However, on a deeper level, commitment issues stem from a place of fear. The logic, according to them, is that if you never commit, then you don't lower your guard and they can't hurt you. Totally flawed logic, but it is what it is. It's like they're stuck in a game of red light, green light, and they're always the ones yelling red light just when things start to progress. The bottom line is that being in a relationship with someone with commitment issues is like trying to nail jelly to the wall. It's messy, frustrating, and ultimately useless. Frequent breakups and makeups. If your relationship has more on-again, off-again drama than a faulty light switch, then you're unfortunately caught in the roller coaster known as the frequent breakups and makeups. One minute you're writing poems about each other's perfectly arched eyebrows, and the next you're dramatically deleting all evidence of them from social media. But before you can finish setting up your dating profile on Tinder, you're back together, professing undying love and wondering why you ever broke up in the first place. Rinse and repeat. At first, these breakups might feel like a part of the relationship's natural ebb and flow. Every couple has disagreements, right? But when these breakups start happening more often than your favorite TV show releases new episodes, it's a sign that the relationship is stuck in a loop. The makeup would always leave you feeling good, almost like a relief, because for a moment, you've patched things up. But here's the catch. That relief is often short-lived, and before long, you're back in the same old argument, threatening to leave each other once again. Most times, frequent makeups and breakups often signal underlying issues that haven't been resolved. However, some people actually love and even thrive on the thrill of dramatic makeups and breakups. Unfortunately, that kind of emotional turbulence isn't sustainable because even though the drama may keep things interesting, it also keeps things unhealthy. Financial dependence. So, 2 months ago, you connected with your perfect match on Tinder and everything has been going great, except for one issue. Your partner always seems to have one excuse or the other when it comes to paying bills or money. At first, you didn't think anything of it because technically couples are supposed to help each other out, right? But now it seems like you're basically funding their entire existence. Rent, groceries, phone bills, you name it, you're paying for it. It's like your partner has developed a severe allergy to their own wallet, and the only cure seems to be your credit card. This is a classic case of financial dependency, a red flag that can quickly sour even the most promising relationships. Basically, it's when your partner entirely relies on you for financial support, creating an imbalance of power in the relationship. This can build stress, resentment, frustration, and even cause a loss of independence for both parties. Now, it's quite normal for couples to hold it down for each other when one person is going through a rough patch, but when that patch seems to last longer than a Christmas movie marathon, your partner has graduated from temporary assistance to a full-time freeloader with honors. This unhealthy situation can also manifest in a different way, where the dependent person might start to feel a growing sense of helplessness or even shame. At the end of the day, nobody wants to be seen as a money-spitting machine, no matter how much they love you. Constant criticism. It's another evening at home and you're feeling pretty good about yourself, maybe even proud of that nice dinner you made. You bring it to the table expecting a thank you or at least a nod of approval, but instead your partner takes a bite and starts to literally complain and criticize the entire meal, from the way it looks to how to serve and even the fact that you gave him a huge portion. Now, it stings, but you brush it off, and then it happens again and again. Suddenly, you're not just hearing about the salt, you're being reminded of how you're always too slow, too messy, or too sensitive. Suddenly, what once seemed like a loving partnership starts to feel more like a daily performance review where you're always coming up short. You see, constant criticism goes beyond constructive feedback. It's when your partner regularly nitpicks or belittles you, often under the guise of helping or being honest. This can range from small things like the way you wash the dishes to much bigger digs at your personality, career, or choices. Over time, constant criticism chips away at your self-esteem, leaving you feeling like you can't do anything right. Distrust. Just imagine being in a relationship where you're always second-guessing everything your partner says or does. Are they telling the truth? Why did they take so long to respond to your text? Who are they talking to on the phone? You see, trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. It's the glue that holds everything together. But when distrust sneaks in, it's like termites chewing away at the very core of that foundation. Even if everything looks fine on the outside, distrust quietly eats away at the relationship, making it unstable, unpredictable, and eventually unlivable. Basically, the entire relationship would stop feeling like a partnership and become more like an unsolved mystery, except in this case, you're both the detective and the suspect. Now, the thing about distrust is that it always creeps in slowly and starts small, like a splinter that's easy to ignore at first. But as it digs deeper, it causes more pain and more doubt, and before you know it, everything your partner does feels suspicious. Maybe your partner told a small white lie. Like saying they stayed late at work when they were actually out with friends. It seems harmless at first, but once you catch them in that small lie, you start wondering what else they could be lying about. Now you're stuck following your partner's every move like a GPS with separation anxiety. Disrespect. Let's be real, being disrespected by anybody is something nobody likes at all. Now imagine being constantly disrespected by someone who's meant to adore and love you. Well, that's just wrong. Just imagine if you're in the middle of a heartfelt conversation sharing something vulnerable when your partner casually rolls their eyes or dismisses your feelings with a snide comment like, "Oh, here we go again." At first, you might laugh it off or let it slide, but over time, these little moments of disrespect add up. Suddenly, the person who's supposed to support and care for you is treating you like you're an annoying customer in line at the DMV. It's not just about someone calling you names or belittling you, although that's definitely a big-ass red flag too. Some Sometimes it's as simple as them constantly cutting you off in conversations or making you feel like your opinions don't matter. However, disrespect in relationships doesn't just pop up. They often stem from deeper issues like insecurity and control. A partner who feels insecure might try to tear you down in order to build themselves up, because by making you feel small, they feel bigger. Stonewalling. You finally decide to sit down with your partner and have a serious conversation about something that's been bothering you. Or maybe you just need to hash out a disagreement. But instead of engaging, they go completely silent. They shut down, cross their arms, stare into space, or even walk out of the room. Your words hit them, bounce back, and fall to the ground like tennis balls smacking into a wall, completely ignored. This would probably make you feel stupid, right? Well, that's the idea, and it's a huge, big red banner. Stonewalling is unarguably one of the most frustrating and emotionally draining behaviors in relationships. It's when communication isn't just tough, it's non-existent. You might as well be talking to a brick wall because that's how responsive your partner feels in that moment. It's a form of emotional withdrawal and is often used as a way to avoid conflict, dodge accountability, or control the situation. Rather than dealing with issues head-on, the stonewaller checks out, leaving the other person feeling helpless, confused, and frustrated. Think of stonewalling as the silent treatment's older, more passive-aggressive cousin. It's not loud or confrontational, but an icy, impenetrable silence that stops all conversation in its tracks. And every relationship needs communication to even work. So you can see the problem. Love bombing. For the past month, you've practically woken up to flowers every morning, a postcard that tells you how amazing you are, and numerous text messages throughout the day confessing undying love and adoration. The crazy part is that you actually just met this person, and they're already planning romantic getaways, talking about your future together and what your beautiful babies would be named after. It's a fairy tale come to life, and you're the star. But as quickly as it began, the fireworks fade, and suddenly the whirlwind romance starts feeling less like love and more like manipulation. Well, you've just been love bombed, and it's a manipulative tactic where you're being hit with a massive blast of love right from the start. A love so intense that you barely have time to catch your breath or even think about what's happening. However, the love bomber often has ulterior motives and basically just wants to get you hooked and emotionally invested so they can manipulate or control you. Now, here's how the manipulation and control works. You see, once you get in and fall in love with them, they'd purposely start to withhold and dramatically reduce the love and affection they showered you with in the beginning. It's a classic push-pull tactic that keeps you emotionally dependent on them. Plus, the overwhelming affection is always a smokescreen to distract you from seeing the potential red flags early on. While you're dazzled by all the love, you might not notice their controlling tendencies or toxic behavior.